What's up, guys? So I'm gonna be changing out my power steering line today. To be honest, what had happened, my power steering line had broke. Oh, it's so bright over here. So like I said, my power steering line had busted like a hole in it just with the pressure, and so this was a while back though. So it had made a hole. It was shooting fluid everywhere, and so what I did, I took off the belt so I wouldn't be running my power steering. And to be honest, I've been running like that for about like 4 months without power steering. And I know one of you guys had asked for a video about how to flush out your power steering system. Now, so I had made that video. I had made flushing out the system. I had replaced the hose. I had bought another hose. I had bought aftermarket, to be honest. I think Gates made the power steering hose I had first bought. And so I put everything on, I was making the video. But when I finally put on the belt to actually run the new hose had a leak too. And so I tried to return it with the company, and they're like, no, we're not going to take any returns because whatever. And so basically I had wasted about what, like 80 bucks on a brand new hose. So 80 bucks down the drain. I was like, man, I don't even want to mess with the aftermarket company. I'm gonna go ahead and buy OEM from Honda, as usual. Now, I know I always talk about OEM stuff, and I had bought the hose, and it's by Gates. Gates is a pretty good company, but it had that hole. I'm not saying the Gates is like a bad company. And I had told, I forgot who asked for the video of the power steering flush, but I had told them that I was going to make that video next, and that video was supposed to be next. But because of the part not working, I didn't want to throw up a video of a part not working. So, for some reason people have a hard time changing out these power steering hoses. To be honest, they're pretty simple. I don't know why people have a lot of difficulty. I guess you just need like smaller hands. I don't really have big hands. I guess, I don't know. I have little kid hands, whatever. Now, you might have noticed in some of my other videos, I don't have a belt on here. And, yeah. So here is the aftermarket power steering hose. So the difference from OEM to aftermarket, this thing is pretty fat. So you can't use the original bolts. You have to buy longer bolts. And, yeah, so that's the difference. Right here, it doesn't hold in place because it doesn't have that bushing or whatever it's called. And down there, there's another bushing that's supposed to just kind of like secure it down to like the cross member, and it doesn't have that bushing, so it's just kind of loose in there. But besides that, it does the job. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the belt, and then we'll get started. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and flush out the old power steering that is in the rack and in the reservoir. Now, I got the belt all tightened up. Now, when I did the video the last time, the one that I did not release, if you have power steering in the reservoir, you get like a turkey baster and take out all that you can in the reservoir. And I also took out the reservoir and I washed it, made sure everything was dry before putting it back on. Now, what you're going to do is get the line right here. Now, this one is the one that feeds the power steering, which there's nothing in there right now. So you're going to get everything that is coming back. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove it from the bottom here, from the hard line. Alright, so as you guys saw, I just took out the hose completely just because it was easier, because I could actually move the hose and actually get it off. And so now I got another hose that I had lying around in the garage. Got a water bottle, put the hose in that water bottle, and now I'm going to start the car and move the wheels back and forth, and then it's going to capture the fluid in here. Now I know I don't have that much fluid in here, so I know a water bottle would be good. If you have another person just to watch the fluid level, make sure it doesn't come out or anything, then that would be good also. Now I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and start it and try to just capture whatever fluid comes out and put it into here. Alright, as you guys saw there when I was taking out the power steering, that's all you have to do. If you guys saw, I put a rag over the top of the water bottle because some had splashed out and got onto my fender, which I have cleaned. I cleaned all of the power steering that came out, and I cleaned up this hose. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the hose back on, and then we're going to get onto taking off the power steering line. Alright, I got that hose back together. Now I'm just going to take out these tans right here on top of the power steering pump. And now also what I'm going to be taking off, you're going to need a 14mm line wrench. And let me see if you can see it. It's right there. Right there. That is the power steering line. Let me see if you can see. So you're looking at the steering column where it connects to the steering rack. Then there's one line connected to it right here. It's going to be the one on the left, that shiny one right there. And like I said, it's going to be a 14mm, and you're going to need a line wrench. If it's the original one, it's going to be a little tight, so you might need a little breaker bar to get it off. Alright, so here are the power steering lines. Now, if you still have the original line, we'll go off of that. If you still have the original line, you're going to have the, even on the aftermarket line, you're going to have the sensor here. And so also what you're going to have to do is take out this sensor and put it onto your new line. And there is an O-ring on that, so you might want to buy that O-ring. Like I said, I did change this one out, so this one has a new O-ring for sure. I just need to swap them out. What else? And also on the original line, it has this bushing that attaches to the cross member, and the bushing attaches to like this little metal, I don't know what you want to call it, plate or whatever, and it kind of just like bends over it and holds it down, so you got to bend that tab up and then so you could get the line out. Here is the part number for the power steering line.
These pulses, they pull out this right out of me. 'Cause these feels might be.
Now I'm gonna install the hose from the bottom. I'm gonna go underneath the car and just put the line coming up, and to me that is the easiest way.
And what's here? What's there? 'Cause they might say you catch a cold dear coattails right out when we break away.
Alright, now to show you from underneath, there's the sensor right there that's plugged up, the green one, and for the metal tab that is holding on to the power steering line, the bushing, it's going to be right across from the oil filter. So here's the oil filter. It's going to be up top on the cross member. It's right there. You can see it kind of stick up right there. That's going to be it. Like I said, there's just a metal tab you got to bend up, and then when you put it back on, just got to bend it down. Now for some reason, I mean, I had hit record on my camera, but for some reason it did not save to my memory card. But as you guys saw, I put the line from the bottom up. Now the hardest part is getting the line to just go in the right direction so it connects to the steering rack. And by that, if you have someone up here just to hold the line up while you move everything around, it'll be a whole lot easier. I mean, it's possible to do it by yourself. It's not that hard, but you know, having someone help would be a good option. So yeah, you connect the line, just make sure it's tight all the way so you have no leaks at the power steering rack. Connect your sensor, put the tab back on to the bushing onto the steering line. Then you come up here and you just put the 210s on top of the power steering. Now I had put the fluid into the reservoir because I had flushed the system. The reason why you want to flush the system, some people say to do it once a year. I mean, that's just really up to you. But the reason why you flush the system is because the power steering has detergents in it that cleans the lines and the power steering rack. Now when it loses those detergents, it could start corroding your seals that are in the power steering rack, and then your rack could start leaking. So it's pretty good to flush out the system. It's not really hard. It's just something people overlook. Now when filling up the reservoir, the power steering you're going to want to use, especially for a Honda, is OEM power steering fluid. Now the reason why you use this and not aftermarket ones, the ones you could buy at your auto parts store, is because it has been shown that using other power steering fluids ruins your power steering pump. Now that's not something I made up, but it's shown to do that. So, you know, it's not really expensive. All you need is about 2 bottles, right under 2 bottles, and I think each bottle is about $4. Now before you start your car, you're going to want to go ahead and fill up your power steering reservoir. You're going to go ahead and fill it up. You're going to go ahead and start the car. The first time you fill it up, it's going to take all the fluid and send it to the rack. Now you're going to leave it with the cap off and put a little bit more power steering, and you're not going to fill it all the way to the line just yet. You're going to just do it to where it has fluid in the reservoir and in the system while it's running. And you're going to turn your wheel from left to right, go all the way left until it can't turn no more, then go all the way right, and just do that a couple of times, and it helps get the air out of the system, and that's why you leave the cap off. Now once your fluid doesn't drop anymore, you could go ahead and turn off your car and just fill it up to the line, to the line on the reservoir. Now when you first start your car, your power steering is going to make like a whining sound, and that's because the pump is running dry because you flushed out the system. Now once it has fluid in there, go ahead and turn it off for about 2 minutes, then turn it on again, and just, you know, from left to right, just keep turning it, It might still make a whining sound. If it does, just, you know, turn it left to right a couple of times, turn it off again for another 2 minutes. Then when you turn it on the third time, that whining noise should be completely out. And that's just the fluid and everything settling into the pump and into the rack. So I mean, there's nothing to worry about right there. But like I said, after that, everything should be good to go. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Like this video if you learned anything, if it helps you out, you know, little things here and there. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, of course. And I still got more videos on the way. I still got a little bit more work to do, so be on the lookout for that. But besides that guys, I hope like I said, this helped you out and gave you a few extra tips to do to your car. And yeah, comment down below if you have any questions. You can message me, add me on Instagram, Snapchat. But alright guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.